It is believed that society has its way of changing one's behavior, especially when it concerns our lifestyle, culture, and thought process. Today on Abby's Corner. If this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button and also on the notification bell so you get updates each time I upload a new video. So yeah guys. Okay guys, I have Taiwo with me here. So you have to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Just my name.
Your name, anything about you want to tell us.
Okay, my name is Taiwo and I'm a twin. Happy to say that. I have a twin sister.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all, I guess.
No, I'm also a twin.
Yeah, you're a twin, but because you don't use the regular twin name,
yeah, that's true.
So sometimes I'm confused if you're a twin or not.
I'm a twin.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. So today's topic is going to be about growing up in Africa and how that has shaped our behavior, especially now that we're in the US. So, what do you think about that topic, and what's your opinion about that?
Well, I feel like it's a very important topic. You know, we cannot rule out the fact that we were not raised here, literally. Like, we kind of like grew up in Africa. We were born there. I mean, I was born there. I was born in Nigeria. And so that has influenced, or that has shaped my worldview, my perspective on a lot of things, you know. So, and I see it play out every day in my everyday life here in the US. So I think it's a very important topic. I don't know if we talk about it enough, you know. I feel like we should talk about it a lot, because one way or the other, when we start discussing these things, you know, and you take some decisions, you know, your friends here will be like, why are you doing like that? You know, and they are surprised, you know, they have a different opinion about those things. So, yeah, it's an important topic. I think we should talk about it. Okay.
So, for you, growing up in Nigeria, and now that you are in the US, how has it kind of affected, how has it impacted you?
The positives and there are the negatives, right?
Definitely.
So, most times we tend to, when this is discussed, most times we tend to either go towards the positive side. Oh, you know, Africa is great, Nigeria is great, you know, we have all of these things, we do this, we do that. But there are also the negatives. You know? So I feel like I can categorize it in both ways. You know, there are the positives and there are the negatives. And we cannot exhaust this issue, really. But I would like to talk about both sides to it.
Okay, do us the honor and just tell us the positive first.
So there are some positives, actually, to be honest. And the very first one on my list is gratefulness. You know, you are very grateful when you come here and you have a lot of things. You see how things work. You know, before I came to the US, I never really knew that Nigeria or the things in Nigeria were that bad. You know, when you're in the middle of something, sometimes you don't know until you come out of it and you're like, ooh, you know,
fresh hair.
You know, there's some things that we do in Nigeria that we feel like, oh, it's just the normal way of doing things. You know, for example, you know, when we see traffic lights and all, you know, when I used to drive in Nigeria, you know, I wouldn't say that I obeyed the traffic law, you know, perfectly, you know, but I mean, everybody was doing it, so it was okay, you know. But here you see those things and you're like, wow, there's a lot of order. You know, and so you are grateful for the fact that, you know, there are detailed plannings, you know, and then you don't take those things for granted, you know, because you have not experienced, you have experienced the other part of it. So you tend to like take those experiences like, wow, this is nice. I'm grateful to God, you know, for being here.
Now that you mentioned this traffic thing, hey, I know my experience. When I came to the US, you know, I used to this our, you know, down football, so I couldn't bed. You start running when on the road. So I went to cross the road. And I discovered I was just running for no reason. I was just running like, because normally you will see this, you have to press this button where you have pedestrians, so you have the ability to now start walking because it says, okay, start walking. Yeah. And I was running. The cars were waiting, but I was running. Because in this place, even if you even go in front of them, they will have to stop because we have the right of, they tell you we have the right of way.
Right of way, yeah.
I mean, Nigeria has made me, you know, we're kind of, there's this paranoia that I was kind of feeling like, like, we just do things because, you know, we're not really used to that system.
Yeah.
And then it becomes different. But it takes a lot of time for us to adjust.
Yeah, it takes a lot of reorientation, actually. You know, in Nigeria, we call it zebra crossing, right? Nobody waits for you on zebra crossing.
Ooh.
Like, you're there at your own risk. So you feel like everybody is out to just get you, and then you have to be on your feet. You know, you have to be proactive. You have to, you know, watch out for yourself.
Exactly.
That's the way it is in Nigeria. So every man for himself, sort of. You know, so, but here, you know, things work. At least systems work, and institutions work largely. Like a cop, if a cop stops you for something and he finds you guilty, you are guilty. You know, you can go to court and prove it, but you're on that spot is not going to give you a pass. You know, but in Nigeria, we know.
It's not like SARS. I would just say, hey, come here. You come here. Where are you going to? What's in your bag? Hey, where's the receipt for this one? Where's the receipt for receipt for phone? Receipt for laptop?
I mean,
all those
laptop.
kind of
there was a time that I was literally stopped. You know, I was in the car with a couple of my colleagues then, and we were traveling, and the cops stopped us.
In Nigeria?
You know? Yeah, in Nigeria.
Okay.
And the guy stopped us. They were looking for Yahoo boys or something. And do you know what they did? They actually took out our laptops and they started
going through your information. They do it. Go to your information.
I mean, my laptop was locked. They asked me to put the password. Because at the time I didn't know. I was scared that hey, you know, and they delayed us for about an hour, you know.
Imagine.
So
and you still give them some money.
Actually, we didn't pay that day. We were just very fortunate to, you know. And they checked. They were looking for stuff, you know. At the time, you didn't even know that they needed some kind of search warrant to do that. Because nobody really, you know.
I'm serious, like
you're scared.
It's crazy. Nigeria. Oh, but it is well.
They come in here, you're kind of like grateful that, oh God, you know, things do work, you know, your rights are in place. Even if a cop stops you, cops have stopped me a couple of times, you know, you don't have your lights on, you know, this and that, normal petty things. So
aside from being grateful, what else?
So one of the things that I think that helps is this, I think growing in Africa and coming here, it helps you to build your resilience, you know, sort of.
Yeah, right.
You kind of like, you have that, can-do attitude, you know, because you've seen the other side of life. You've seen how things can be very difficult. You know, you see people go through stuff even in high institutions in Nigeria.
My brother, remember Unad? We went to the same school. Unad, hey. So, remember then, just come outside, just see lights, candle lights during the exam. Like, God, I've not even read. I don't think I've read well. You feel intimidated. You feel scared for exams. Like, it's crazy. I mean, you read with candles. You know, you read with lanterns. Such
you know,
conditions.
So
and yes, you still
having lights. You know, it's kind of like something that is, you know. I know things are changing right now in Nigeria, in Africa generally, but you know, when you come where the system, you know, kind of like gives you that comfort to an extent, you know, and then you feel like, wow, if I was doing this in Nigeria where the system was not so good, you know, and here the system is good, why can't I just, you know, press in more, you know, why can't I just, you know, push through, you know, and so it breeds that kind of discipline in us, because it's tough. Even if you have a lot of money in Nigeria, I mean, except you go to, you know, some very, you know, very, very good standard private universities. But if you go to the public, I mean, I have friends in other public universities in Nigeria. It's all the same story, basically, you know. So, so it builds resilience. You know, then you come here, you're like, oh no, I'm going to push through. You know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, you read in AC, you know, all of those things. You know,
people's asking. That's why I think that's why we do better when we come here, because if we can survive that kind of difficult conditions in Nigeria, we tend to see this as, you know, it's easy, a better atmosphere, good reading condition, and then it becomes very, very easy for you to read and then pass. That's why we're always like, we're very, very, very good here in this country.
I mean, you're a smart girl, so.
Anyway, it's God.
Yeah. Then the other thing is that there's this respectfulness that I see with many Africans here. You know, you're beating your chest like you're a very respectful girl.
Oh, we are respectful.
Yes. You know, so we because of the culture, you know, the culture has built us in such a way that you see people in the society, you kind of like, you know, you know they are older than you. You know, you kind of like respect them. You know, you're not in their faces, like you're not trying to prove a point. You know, you just and even the professors tell you, wow, why are you disrespectful? But there was a time I was one of my professors then, You know, we were going somewhere together. You know, he was taking me somewhere, and then he had a bag, and I wanted to carry the bag for him. You know, I just felt like it's normal now, because that kind of a thing in Nigeria can put you in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, a professor is coming and is carrying a bag in Nigeria, and you cannot carry it from him. He will pretend as if he doesn't know you're in his class.
There was a teacher that time,
and then eventually something can happen to you.
Yeah, because nobody came to welcome her to take her bag. She went back. She didn't come to the class to teach that day. I was like, because of that.
I mean, petty stuff. I mean, it's so petty, but it was, for us, it was like something that showed respect. You know, so, and I wanted to carry the bag for him. And I said, oh, well, give it to me, sir. Let me carry it for you. He said, why do you want to carry my bag? I felt embarrassed. Like, it was awkward, I was like,
you know, they might say it as you're trying to maybe gain, like,
yeah.
You know,
I said, no, you don't. I have my hand. I can carry my bag by myself. Don't worry.
They open the door for you. They open the door for you to go into the class or to leave the.
That's my first year in America. You know, because of the years of bullying. You know, I mean, it's almost as if everybody bullies you.
Everybody bullies you.
You know, you go to school, the lecturer
is one big issue.
You know, you try to talk to people in church. Sometimes some people are bullies, you know. And so when you come here, you kind of like, you don't know, I don't know what's going on. So sometimes some people even have low self-esteem, you know. Even the society puts you in that position, you know. So, and then you come here, it affects you. I'm not going to lie, it affects you. Like you just like I remember there was a time I took a class, and then there was a professor in the class, and we were all international students in that class. You know, people from Asia, people from Africa, and all. And the guy would talk, and nobody would ask questions. And you know, the professor was confused. He was like, when I teach and people don't ask questions, there are only two reasons. One is that they understand everything I'm saying. They already know it. Or the other is that they don't even have an idea. And so when people don't have an idea of what you're saying, how can they ask questions? You can only question something that you know you have doubt. Yeah. But in this place, it's not even doubt. You don't even understand. But you're like, if I talk now, this guy would know. This guy will figure me out. And so the guy told us, said, you people need to ask questions no matter how stupid they are. You know? And I was like, okay, if we ask questions in Nigeria,
you're in trouble. And
the professor feels like you are trying to get him or something, you're in trouble.
If you're marked.
There are some of my professors in Nigeria that did not even know me personally, and they taught me for 4 years straight. They didn't know me personally, and it was a small class, 30, 40 people. Wow. You know, it's not so big. I mean, you know, that can be big, yeah, but it's not so big, you know. So you want to be careful. So you are like, kind of like, I don't want to call it subjugation, but you know,
you can't
express yourself.
You can't express yourself in class at all. Like,
then the other thing is reasoning. You know, we don't do a lot of reasoning. You know, and talking about education, you know, and it's because, you know, this the education system, you know, kind of like prepares you to just, you know, take something in and put it back out. You know, the professor says, hey, this is the method that I taught you. If you don't do it this way, if you do it some other way, you're trying to prove to me that you're smart. Yeah. Are you smarter than me? If you're smarter than me, then I cannot give you A or something like that, you know? And so you don't challenge, you know, stuff. You know, you can't look at something, if somebody teaches this way, okay, why is this? Yeah. You cannot. Maybe things are changing now. I hope things are changing now, but you really cannot. And that's the bedrock of education, you know, the ability to be able to, you know, challenge the status quo. You know, that's why people do research. That's why people invent things. That's why there's innovation. You know, you look at it and you're like, okay, how can I make this thing better? Okay, you did this way. What if you did it this way? You know, so that thing, you know, I mean, to a large extent, I don't think we have it in Africa. Okay, let me say in Nigeria, you know, things are getting better now, but before it wasn't that good.
Yeah, that reminds me. I remember one time doing it was my final year project, and I was so excited. I was focusing on literature. I was supposed to write like on 2 different novels. Like, you know, I came out with creative topics. I'm very creative. So I came out with creative topics, and I went to meet my lecturer. I was so excited. I said, these are my topics, blah, blah, blah. That man was, people dread that man in that English department. People dread him so much. And the man was like, you're trying to be smart, right? You want to be smart, right? You feel you are just too much and all of that. I felt like, you know, I just felt, it just made my creativity look stupid. Like, I just felt so silly that I even misplaced my drafts. I had to start writing all over again. So it was so discouraging. But it took a lot of resilience for me to not say, okay, let me just, you know, do it. And it will not give you A. A is for God. That year it was B.
A is for God, B is for me, C is for you.
Well, I think God even gave us B. At least we did our best and he gave us a B. But that I just feel that it's so bad that when we come over here, we find it difficult to. I could not relate to my lecturers. Like, go and meet accept my lecturers. Okay, sir, I don't understand this. Can you explain to me, or question the lecturer? But with time, I got used to that part. You know, I was able to go to my lecturer's office. Sir, what is this? What is that? And, you know, there in Nigeria, you have this fear of victimization from a lecturer. Like, he might be interested in me if I say, sir, I need help. He might say, oh, you're looking beautiful. Come to my office. We need to see. Let's go meet in an hotel. You are scared of that. So I had that same orientation when I got here. That same mindset, and I felt, I can't do this. I can't do that. But with time, I was able to adjust. Yeah.
I mean, it goes to say that there are some. I mean, lecturers in Nigeria who are still very good.
Yeah, some were still good.
You know, like there are some people who, like the person who was my advisor in my final year. He was a great guy. We had very good conversations, you know. We talked, you know, he's like a friend, you know. But they're in the minority. That's the truth. They're in the minority. I know a lot of female friends who would say, oh, this guy is trying to sleep with me and stuff like that. And they had no voice. There's nobody to champion their cause, you know. And it's without social media. Those things are not going to see the light of day. And that leads me to the third point, which is that so we kind of like have a very weak academic background, you know, especially when you're in science and engineering, you know, in Nigeria. I mean, of course, again, I'm going to say these things have changed now, but you come here and then you discover that all that you've learned, all that you've been taught, you know, is actually basic. You know, like you do linear algebra in Nigeria. We all did linear algebra. I'm a Nigerian student, right? We all did linear algebra. I thought I knew linear algebra until I took a class. And then the guy was talking about some things. And I was like, wait. I did linear algebra now. You know, I give value, I give vector, I give decomposition, all of those things. It was a matrix theory class. I was like, oh boy, it's like I'm way over my head here. You know, and sometimes because you have a good result right from Nigeria, so they say, oh, you have a GTA, a graduate teaching assistantship, and they put you in the lab to teach sophomore level students, you know, some stuff, junior level students, some stuff, and you're like, this thing that I want to teach these students, I don't know it. YouTube to the rescue. Thank God for YouTube.
Hallelujah, YouTube.
You know, and then you're like, you know, the basics, you know, the very fundamental things that are important. And the experience I'm talking about is for engineering. I don't know how it is for science. I guess science students probably share the same perspective. But, you know, for people who are in arts or something, you know, it might be stronger, you know, in Nigeria, you know. But I'm talking about science, engineering. You know, it's and the professors here, they expect a solid background. They expect that you know these things because they'll be like, okay, yeah, this is what our students know. So, and when you're like, you can't even complain. That's the thing. So you have to fill the gap, fill the knowledge gap, you know, and all. So, and then we talked about something, little psychological support, you know, when people go through stuff, like, you know, you are not doing well academically in school back in Nigeria. I mean, you literally cannot find somebody to talk to, somebody to, you know, guide you, somebody to, you know, tell you what to do. So it's like you have to figure it out yourself. You know, and so people have extra years and they're just thinking about it themselves. They're thinking of how they are going to, you know, do it. There's nobody to say, hey, don't worry, you know, you can do this, do that, or, you know, even talk to somebody. There's nobody, you're your own, or yours is your case. So there's a lot of that, you know, and that's very sad because it's a real issue. It's a very real issue.
I know I've heard of cases of where students back in school in Nigeria will go and check, they'll go to go and kind of check their results on the board and they just run mad from there. They go crazy there because they overread and they get disappointed at their grades. And then they just go psychologically boozer like that, and that's it.
I put that blame on some of the curriculum because the way we are taught is like, oh, it's the exams that matter, the final exams, or maybe the midterm exams sometimes, you know, but everything is like 70% is the final exam, 30% is like maybe test and all. And so you can do 20 tests, it's just 30%. But the final exam is the most important thing. But it's different here. You know, you earn your grade as you go till you do your final exam. So sometimes before you even go for your final exam, you know whether you're going to get an A or a B. So you already know, you're not pressured, you're not doing all this almighty, read through the night. So that also helps. That helps to diffuse the tension a little bit. You can still, try to get something out of it. But it's different in Nigeria, man. I mean, exam is 70%, so you're going to keep hitting your head against the wall. And academics in Nigeria feel, oh, that's the way, that's the right way. I used to think that was the right way until I started here. And I discovered that, oh boy, what we are just doing, we are just postponing everything to the last 2 weeks of the final exam. It makes no sense. But the difference here is that you work almost throughout the semester. When it's assignment, you do it. When it's midterm exams, you do it. When it's another exam, you do it. And when it's final, so the effort is not concentrated on one part of the, it's concentrated all through. You kind of like, though you might be stressed all through, but then the stress is not just at one point. So that also affects you, and so you might bump a few tests first. Maybe you bump the first exam and then you'll be like, oh, I'm failing. Then you try to correct things. But in Nigeria, if you bump the last exam, there's nothing to correct again. You have to carry over.
That's true. Even over here, sometimes I go to my professor and ask my professors and say, okay, am I really doing well in class? Where am I lagging behind? Can you kind of advise me? What should I do? And they would be open and they would kind of, tell you what to do. So, yeah, I think that should be all today. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for honoring my invite. Yeah,
thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel, Abby's Corner. Hit on the subscribe button. It's the red one. And it is free to subscribe. You don't pay to subscribe. Please, you don't pay to subscribe. Also hit on the bell so you get notifications each time I upload a new video. So thanks.